Go live. And we're live. Hello, Justin. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm monitoring the live right now on my phone because I'm not currently at my computer, so we don't have our 3-monitor system. So we'll wait to see who's going to join us in the live.
Okay.
Justin D is joining us. Little J.
Hello. I feel like we're talking like we're some sort of like radio broadcasters, very soft.
Yeah, we're whispering right now.
Yeah.
Well, if you're with us right now, write into the comments your name. In the event post, there's a permissions link for Ecamm. It's the system that we use to broadcast this through Facebook. So if you don't mind accepting that, I can actually see your comments. Hey, Little J. He wrote Little J in the building. Yes, you are in the building. If you can accept that permission request, I can see your comments come through this kind of broadcast system, and I can see your name. Otherwise, I'll be monitoring on my phone here. But this is our first type of open office hour scenarios. I have Big J with us, Justin. Hello, Justin.
Hi.
Jody Petrie. Hi, Jody. Jody's with us.
Hey, Jody.
Today. Yes. So let's kind of just go into, we're hoping to do this more often if it's lots of people join and have a bunch of questions to share, but it's kind of just open office hours to discuss anything pressing going on right now that Justin can you get Justin's time right now to ask him anything you want with the software. Otherwise, I have a few prompts, a topic of subject or a subject. What am I trying to say? A topic to discuss of one of the features that I would love Justin to walk me through if I was a new photographer. So we'll leave it maybe 3 more minutes, and then otherwise, Jody, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. But we'll get into schedulers today.
Schedulers. I love schedulers. They're I love like just how neat and like tidy that they can end up being, and like just. It saves me a lot of time, even my own business. Like I automate it so it actually goes out to people that like want to have like a consultation call with me and things like that. So it's
Question for you.
Probably one of my favorite speeches. Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know this, but do a lot of people who write into support, do they know that you're also a photographer?
I'm not sure, to be honest. They used to know. I haven't really actively been in chats. I've been more managing the team, so I don't think it's as widely known anymore. But when I used to do a lot of calls, I would actually kind of show how I was using it. Like I would show contact forms on my own website and things like that. So
yeah. Well, if you guys didn't know and you're watching this, Justin is a professional photographer, and he shoots weddings. Do you shoot anything else? I know that you shoot us around that sounds terrible. You shoot us around the office all the time.
I do portraits as well. We generally specialize in weddings though, so most of like our website and branding and stuff is all wedding geared.
Mm-hmm.
But like we will do like portraits and stuff like that especially for like old wedding clients and things like that. So kind of the repeat business from that. So
yeah. Love it. Cool. Okay, so let's maybe get into it. Jody says she has a couple questions regarding the calendar and scheduling. Jody, why don't you write into your questions right now? But I kind of want to briefly just go over, you're sharing your screen, Justin, and we can briefly go over what kind of schedulers is, because it is a huge component of the software. It's almost, there's companies that just have this as their only feature, right? So maybe you can go in to explain what schedulers are. I know that they used to be called invitations. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit more. And then we can go into like basically like if I'm I'm a photographer and I'm new to Sprout, what's the first thing I'm going to want to do with schedulers? So first, let me just add this screen here, and I'm going to take me away. So Justin, you can start explaining this. Actually, I might take Justin away here as well.
Okay.
So that goes
so you can't
full
see me
screen.
Anymore?
You are off of the screen.
I'm kidding. I'm completely fine to be on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at schedulers right now. So feel free, Jody, to write into your comments right now. But if I'm a new user and I just open up schedulers, what's the first thing that I'm gonna want to need to know?
So schedulers themselves, think about it as your availability. What a scheduler is going to do is it's actually going to let Sprout know when you're available, what kind of session is this. It's going to read your calendar to see like if you're actually available, that sort of thing. Think of this as a way to book a date. So this scheduler is not necessarily to say I want somebody to actually like pay me and get contracts and stuff like that. The scheduler portion is only for booking a date. So a scheduler itself could be sent out by itself, or you can attach it to a date and say like, I want you to book this specific date. So what I've got here in this account is the scheduler section. So you can see this is like our a demo account. So you'll see like a bunch of different test ones in here. Just to start, we're just going to click add new, and it's going to be a little bit easier as I open it up to kind of showcase what it is. But you would have a different scheduler for each type of session that you want to offer. So, for example, I'm doing spring mini sessions or blossom sessions or whatnot. Here, like I would name it spring mini sessions.
Yeah, and that is coming around the corner quickly.
Oh, yeah, it's with the weather we had yesterday, we would have thought it'd be here next week. But I am ready for it, though. I can't wait for those blossoms. So, like I was saying, a scheduler is meant to just be this specific thing. So everything in this scheduler is going to be towards booking booking these spring mini sessions. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're actually going to want to say, when do I want to offer these sessions? So that's where availability comes in. Let's just say, we'll say Saturday, May 13th and Saturday, May 20th. Those are, more likely the blossom's going to be up those days. Let's just say I actually want to offer between 9 and 5 on this day, and I want to offer 9 to 5 on this day.
Cool.
So this particular scheduler is only going to show these 2 days as being available. I could take it one step further, and I can say, they have to have it booked by X date. So by default, we have it, set 1 day in advance. So what that means is if it comes to, if they try to book for this day on Friday, they're not going to be able to. They'll only be able to book that Saturday up until Thursday. So, and you can say that for as long as you want, just to get prepared. I find, probably we'll say 3 days is a good buffer, because it lets you say like, okay, this day's full or whatnot. I don't want to offer any more sessions there. So, the other thing to take a look at is booking window.
Yeah.
So we have 3 options here. Ongoing means that it's ongoing. That's more for like I'm going to say an evergreen scheduler. And what I mean by that is it's not specifically geared towards one session. So it's not for your mini sessions. You could have just say, I want phone consultations. And I take phone consultations Monday to Friday, 9 to 12.
Oh.
And that's forever. So ongoing will mean like you can book it next year if you want.
Right.
Start and end time is more what you're going to want for this, because there's only 2 sessions. So you would say my start time would be May 13th, and my end date is May 20th. So those are like basically it's only going to show this week.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that you want to do if it's just like a limited session, or if you're doing Christmas sessions, you could say the whole month of December, that sort of thing.
So, for example, if someone, because we just, the growth team, and I know Brian, we had our first Zoom workshop yesterday, and it was all about the winning week formula. So we're trying to get photographers to plan out, like Wednesdays are my consultation days, or where I get to meet maybe in person at a coffee shop, but those Wednesdays are dedicated for that time. And so that's my availability. So instead of being like at the request of a client, the client gets to book this essentially scheduler with them. So would you recommend going with ongoing, or would you recommend at least until they get their rhythm down to have a start and end time, to be like, you know what, let's try this out for the month if this is a new initiative? Would you have a start and end time for the consultations, and then just say it works out to be successful? Would you change that to an ongoing? Like, how would you approach that?
So that's a good segue into the third option here.
Oh, perfect.
What I would do personally, it would be using this rolling window. So it works the same way as ongoing, but it only says you can book X amount of days in the future. because realistically, if I have somebody who I want to book a phone consultation with because they're booking a wedding, I don't want them to be able to say like, "Hey, I want you to book this session 3 months from now."
Yeah.
I want you to be able to say, "Okay, you can book that session within the next 2 weeks." Like, and so if it's today is Friday, they will only be able to see the next 2 weeks, and then when it's Saturday, they'll only be able to see the next 2 weeks. So that's personally what I would do for that situation.
Okay.
And then on the calendar, you can just click add new. You can say, like I was saying before, if I said 9 to 12, you can actually say all Wednesdays. And it's just going to add that to every day, or
Nice.
like every Wednesday there. So that's how I would handle like the phone consultation part.
Awesome.
It would be the same for sessions too, if it's more of like an evergreen session. Like if you say family sessions, I always do, like Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. Well, then
Right.
you can have a scheduler that has rolling window. You can only book a few weeks in advance that has every Tuesday and Thursday evening available. So
I love that. That was super. I'm so glad. I actually did not know that. Sometimes,
yeah.
like being on the marketing side, you know the feature, you know how beautiful it looks, you know the logistics of how it works. But actually getting into an example like that's very cool to know. I know Jody has a few questions, and we'll get to them right after this. But do you want to quickly just maybe skim over advanced availability, date details, just because there is some really, I know in these kind of modals that we open up, you can get really nitty gritty with your schedule and like the controls that you have.
100%, yeah. So the main things in advanced availability is how many sessions do I want available per day? So in this case, let's just say I only want to book 8 people max. I can go into here and I can say, I only want 8 people per day. So it's through anything booked through this scheduler is only going to, the max you're going to be able to have is 8. Availability increments is how we break that slot up. So you remember we have 9 to 5 right here. Basically, the availability increments, it's if I have it set to half hour here, it's going to have a session open at 9, session open at 9:30, a session open at 10. That's not to be confused with how long the session is. Those are just the times that they can like actually book. Or if you said like I have a slot open at 9:15, 9:30, that sort of thing. So you would actually use this with like how long the date would be. And then the buffers are pretty much before or after an event. Like if you need extra time after an event,
Right.
you could throw the buffer in there. So you could say like I need 15 minutes after every session just to prep myself. It's just going to block off the next session so you can.
So this is like really perfect in the case of mini sessions to give yourself time to like reset, get the next scene potentially, like maybe check in with the client, all that kind of stuff. I've never really ran a mini session myself, but I'm assuming you're just in the way that we use meetings here. We always try to give ourselves 5 minutes before going into the next meeting, to take that breath and that headspace to move on to the next thing. So that's awesome.
Exactly. Even when we book meetings with the support team here, we actually have it booked in that there's a 10-minute increment before every session, just so we get a chance to like, okay, we're going to clear our head. We're going to find out what we're going to talk about. Go check the person's account just to make sure that, things are set up. And then we go to the call. So, so for what you were saying though, Carly, what I would do is I'd actually do it slightly differently. I would factor the buffer in the availability increments. So let's just say you have 20-minute mini sessions.
Yep.
What you could do is you can say, you can book one every 30 minutes. But here in date details, I can go in and say, my sessions are 20 minutes long. So there's still going to be the sessions like that slot's going to be broken down to 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30. But if they book that 9 o'clock slot, the date length, like the session length, is only 9 to 9:20. So you have that 10 minutes before the next session would be. And the only reason I recommend it over buffers is because if you said that the sessions were 30 minutes and the increments are 30 minutes and you had a 15-minute buffer, what it's going to do is it's just going to make the next slot unavailable because you've said, I need 15 minutes after. That doesn't work with this slot, so we're just not going to show this slot at all. The next slot will be open at 10 o'clock.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah. It's once you do it that way, things just fall into place. Like, it's like that. Just to try and skim over because I know we're limited on time. You can allow for rescheduling. For mini sessions, I probably wouldn't because I only have 2 slots available. But for that family session, for that phone consultation, it's just going to let the client actually be able to reschedule an event themselves. If they can't make it, then they can look at the same scheduler and say like, okay, I'm going to book it for the following week.
Cool.
Yeah. This I would say is actually pretty important too, the meeting name or date name, because this is what actually goes on your calendar. So I would say
Oh,
spring mini session with the contact.
cool.
And then for notes, what I would use that for is like, this is where I'm doing the mini sessions. If I'm doing it in this orchard, I would put the location being there, or you could put that in the address. And then this would be like just notes about the date. So it's like, wear this, make sure that you do this, no patterns on your clothes, that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Yeah. Communications, literally, if you want to have more details, like if you want to send them a questionnaire, depending on how you're booking them, you may or may not want to use this. That's entirely up to you. But the share, though, this is if you're doing just this scheduler link. So you wouldn't use it for mini sessions, for example, but what you would do is you'd use this for phone consultations. And this is where I'm going to get either like just the standalone scheduler for, just for booking it, putting a slot on my calendar, or I'll get the script ID to put it on my website, so you can embed it in your website.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
So that's kind of schedulers in a nutshell, like the actual availability part. Maybe in another one, like let's go to some of the questions, but we can touch on it even in another video, another Q&A on like how to use those effectively to book
Yeah,
clients
because
and
I
for
feel like
recordings. Yeah.
even just touching on questionnaires and touching on the thank you message, there's a bunch of like client experience components. Getting into one page, having the daily agenda, we could totally get into how to effectively use schedulers and how that kind of the bonus of Sprout being an all-in-one of how that now affects the other components as you run your business. But we'll go to Jody here, so we won't keep her waiting for too long. So Jody said, Jody said, when I'm a lead and I want to schedule a special date, like a consultation and a shoot date, is there an easier way to see your availability without going back and forth out of the lead and into your calendar? Right now, I can click on the calendar within the lead, but you cannot see your availability. I'm on the phone with a client and have to go back and forth.
How I would do that is I would actually open the invitation, or sorry, scheduler. Change the name.
I know.
I would open the scheduler. Yeah. I would open it just like here. So I would go to scheduler because this is going to read your calendar.
Okay.
So it's not going to like it's going to like look at your calendar, say like, oh, okay, so and so's got this, and so's got that. Like I can't do it these days. The scheduler itself is already going to read all that. So if you opened it up as the client, it's only going to show you the days and times that you're available. So I'm thinking that's the question.
Is there an easier way to see your availability without going back and forth? So I think it's a matter of, Jody, when you're a lead, when you set that scheduler, that's all that they're going to see, what's available for your dates. So they're not necessarily, I wonder is the view only on that you had previously to see like the client side, if we can show that? I don't know. Potentially.
Yeah, so there's two ways to do it. You can either go to schedulers, which is like, this is a general link. It doesn't add it to a lead or shoot because we don't know who the lead or shoot is at that point. Or in Jody's case here, if you went to leads,
there's a lot of dummy data in here.
Oh no, I should have clicked on one that didn't have a shoot date just so I can show it. Because in here I can click on the date. Bear with my internet here. I can go add scheduler and say like, okay, so this is your meet and greet. I can put that on. Realistically, like if you're on the phone, you can open it up as the client, like once it's on there. Otherwise, you could just send that link to the client and it will. They could just pick the day and time that works for them.
Okay, so just for example, if you were to send this client right now, so this to be decided Judd Barty didn't have, you've added it as a lead already, but you want to send them a scheduler because if you just made the mini session one and you had 2 dates available with the 20-minute time slots, what that email they would receive is that availability, correct? So like they would see that those 2 weekend dates, and they would get to choose their time slot in that scheduler that you just sent. So that way there's no back and forth. They get to pick out of what you've decided as your boundaries, your start and end times. They would get to pick their slot from that scheduler, correct?
Exactly. So what I would do is on the date, I would attach the scheduler and email it to them. If they called you up after, Jody, and said like, hey, can we just work with this together? You can just open the shoot date and go visit the link, and you can book it for them, because now it's tied to that specific date. So then whatever you choose is going to set the shoot date in here. So just to reiterate, I would say step one, go to the date that whatever it is that you're trying to schedule and attach the scheduler to that, and then and email it out to them. And if they come back, just open the date and just click visit, and you can just book it with them over like online.
Awesome. I love that. Jody did have another question, and then we'll quickly try to go over some of the rest. I know Jody in a lead, sorry, I'm not using a scheduler. So I'm not using a scheduler, but I meant in a lead. I always talk to my clients when scheduling. I'm not using the scheduler. I hope, Jody, that answered your question there. I feel like we just got a heart as a reaction. So that was going, instead of starting at schedulers, we started at leads. So hopefully that worked for you, Jody, if you can comment back. Her other question, or their other question, sorry, is another question I have within the calendar. I schedule sometimes way in advance, and I need to jump a year or more ahead. Is there a quicker way to do this? A drop-down menu to months and years would be awesome. Right now, I have to jump ahead 1 month at a time while the client is on the phone. Sometimes it takes a while to load.
So there actually is a drop-down for month and year.
Ooh.
So we do have like month, week, year. Like if you wanted to, you could kind of jump to a month that way and just kind of see like from an overview. Now, depending on how many dates, it could slow down a little bit, just depending, because you're essentially loading in a year's worth of dates all on the same sheet. So could go slightly slower. There isn't like a way to jump between months, like just like with like drop down. A little shortcut that I use is like up here, I'll just go like November, and it'll just like load in November.
Right.
Rather than have to click it. Sorry. I don't know if you could see that. I just typed it in the URL. So in the URL, it'll say year equals 2023 and month equals blah, blah, blah. So I just typed in the month there.
What a cool little trick. So when you guys are in right now, sproutstudio.com, what is your, in the search bar, what does it fully say right now?
So right now it'll say sproutstudio.com/calendars, and then it'll say /month. Like there'll be some other characters, but eventually near the end it'll say year equals whatever the year is, and month equals whatever the month is. So you can just go to a specific date and time just by changing the URL there. So it's not like working through drop down menus or anything like that. You're literally just clicking the address bar and just changing. It's pretty obviously laid out, like what to put in. So
awesome. What a cool trick. And I hope, Jody, that answered both of your questions there. I can't see your name, but another person just logged on and they asked if we were recording this so they could look back and watch what they missed. 100% we are recording this. We'll have it reposted. You can rewatch it on Facebook, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you can do youtube.com/GetSproutStudio. But yeah, this has been awesome. There's no other questions right now. So if anyone that is watching this, if you want to leave any quick questions that maybe Justin can touch on, we only have 7 minutes left. But I think this has been a really good, you shared two really good tips that I feel like are like hidden Sprout secrets. We got another question here. What is the easiest way to book a shoot from a Facebook user? The easiest way to book a shoot. I feel like there's so many approaches to that.
Yeah, it would depend on how they're coming in the first place. Because there's two ways I would recommend. Number one, if they came in as a lead already, you're going to send them a booking proposal. So on your lead section, let's just go into Mady's portrait here.
Yeah, so they said if they're already a lead.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're just going to go into that lead and you're going to go to booking proposal.
They said they don't like using the booking proposal. What? The booking proposal is so beautiful.
Yeah, so other than the booking proposal, it's going to be a little bit because that was really the intended behavior around scheduling like booking a client.
Okay.
Because booking pages are what you do it manually.
So are you able? Sorry, Jay.
Mhm.
Are you
Yeah.
able to show maybe quickly booking proposals, or they say that they do it manually. So if they do prefer to they take a credit card number to pay for the session already.
Mhm.
And so this is booking proposal. So you would typically
Okay.
send out that. Do you mind, just for time's sake, showing the manual process if there's like an
Yeah.
easier way?
So actually, right here in this header, we actually have a book manually button.
Oh.
It's going to alter the page slightly. So what you're doing is it's making the assumption that you have the contract, you have your questionnaire and all that stuff. All we're doing here right now is we are picking what the client actually ordered.
Yep.
So let's just say in this case, they ordered, I don't have a package in this. Let's just say, pretend this is a package of some type. We'll put in what they're ordering there. We're going to put in the schedule in which we're agreeing to.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a wedding, it could have like your wedding deposit. If it was just a portrait session, you could just say it was all due up front. But more importantly, you're going to put in the payment. So if you took a credit card payment already, you can go into here and say, okay, well, I took $35 via credit card already.
Whoa,
and add that payment.
You are a cheap photographer, sir.
Well, yeah. So from there, this is literally all I have to do. Then I can click book now. I think that's just something on my end here. But essentially what that's going to do now is it's just going to turn this lead into a shoot. Okay. So realistically, it's really only those 3 steps. Once you put it in manual mode, it's just what did the client order, what did you agree to for payment terms, and what money did you already receive.
Cool.
So it's going to do all that for us.
I feel like as well, we're on a staging account right now, so it's a lot of dummy data, but with the offerings that you're picking, the things that they choose, the digital packages, their downloads, all that kind of stuff that you have set up already in your account will make more sense for that manual. So this is
exactly, yeah.
Yep, this is how I've done it. So you're doing it, I think you're doing it pretty well, Facebook user. I can't see your name right now, but they did say, Justin, you are too cheap of a photographer, so you might have to increase your prices.
Yeah, if only there was a way or some resources I can look into for that.
Yeah, we do have something called Pricing for Profit. You're back on the screen. That you can actually download. I believe it's Get Sprout Studio /Pricing for Profit. But we're actually looking at redoing that for the growth team shortly. So stay tuned for that. But the one thing that we just did release was the Winning Week formula. I will comment below. You're going to want to go to Get Sprout Studio /winning-week. We just talked about schedulers. So that whole idea of, I know, Jody, you talked about giving your availability. Brian and the team wrote a really cool educational guide of hacking your winning week, and it's really all about setting boundaries and instead of letting your client dictate your schedule, you're giving your schedulers in Sprout that start and end time and your availability for that time. So it's a really neat resource. You can go to Get Sprout Studio /winning-week. Winning-week. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me, Justin, for our first open office hours. If you've enjoyed this, please let us know below so we know to continue doing stuff like this. I'm going to remove your screen here.
For the user that just put in, when using the schedule and the client picks a date and I approve it, it's only as TBD, so it's going on their calendar twice. Can you check on the proposal or however you're sending the scheduler? I think it sounds like you're adding it to an additional date instead of the shoot date. I would check on the shoot to see if there's an actual, like the shoot date might be TBD, see if there's another date on there, and just remove it. It might just be like a settings thing. If you chat into support, we can figure it out for you though.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, that was great. Nicole Mills. Nicole Mills is the user. Hello, Nicole. Okay. Thank you for saying your name so I don't have to say Facebook user. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, cool. Nicole, message into support if you want further details. But Justin, it was great chatting with you. And
Thank you.
We'll try. This will be uploaded to YouTube. You'll have it will be available for the replay. And after this, I hope to cut it up just so I can get those 2 tips that you shared. I think are really neat, and we can maybe spread that on social a little bit more for people. So, cool. Thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah. Have a good
Thank
Friday.
you.
Also, it's Family Day in Canada, so support is out of the inbox on Monday. If you have questions, go to our Facebook group. For them, search in our help docs. We have Help Resource Center in Sprout. So there's videos, tutorials, product tours that you can go on. Otherwise, your messages will be answered on the Tuesday when we're back in office. Cool? Awesome. Okay.
Hey,
Thanks,
see ya.
everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.